Hello and welcome to our second ever Q&A. In case you don't know who we are, I'm Mandy.
And I'm Lee. We're the Frugal Travellers.
We had so much fun doing our first Q&A that we thought we'd dive straight back into the second one.
Yeah, we had a lot of questions the first time and we've still got quite a few to answer, so let's get stuck in, shall we?
Okay. Now, we had 3 excellent questions from L.S. Martins. And the very first one, this is quite a hard-hitting one. It was, do we ever have moments of doubt in difficult times and ask, why didn't we lead a normal life?
Yeah. Do you want to answer first?
I did actually have that when we came back from the Africa trip. We spent 40 weeks on a truck trip going around Africa, starting from Gibraltar.
Pretty intense,
Yeah. And then went all the way around the west coast.
Amazing.
And ended up in South Africa and all the way to the top. And then went to the Balkans for 6 weeks. And that was when I went back to Australia and said, that's it. I'm sick of travelling. I want to buy a
We'd been on the road for 2.5 years then, hadn't we? So we're going pretty hardcore. Yeah, that's understandable. Time out. You need time out sometimes. I think that's the best solution for when you get to that kind of travel burnout. But yeah, it can be hard. You're away from home for family for a long time, but there's pros and cons, and I love the lifestyle that we have, so I don't regret it.
No, me neither. I think, even when I did have that, needing the time out, after 6 months, I was like, oh my word, let's go again, let's leave Australia.
Yeah. And here we are, going again.
Yeah, fantastic. So, anyway, I hope that answered your question properly, Alice Martins. And your second question, was it a difficult decision to not have children?
Yeah, well...
I'd never really... I think I had a couple of stages in my life when I kind of wanted kids. Once when I was like 16 and made up these really long names in science class because I was really bored. And again, when I was about... I think it was when we were in South America... 2009. I think it was just like the biological clock ticking away. The very fact that, shortly, because I was 39 at the time, and in theory, I was running out of time. And that sort of made me think yes, have children, but I didn't. And I'm pleased I didn't have. I love my nieces and nephews, really close to them. They're wonderful.
They're great kids, Yeah, I love kids too, but I can't fit one in my backpack. They're really hard to travel around with. And that life is just so much easier when we live the life we've got. It's quite a huge responsibility,
Yes.
And when you're on the move a lot, I think you need quite a stable life to bring children up.
Having said that, we have met fellow travellers who've travelled with their kids, and those children were so well-rounded and intelligent.
Yeah.
And they spoke loads of languages and they were really sociable.
So if you've got kids, pack up everything and take them travelling.
Don't let that stop you from travelling. Yeah, we once met this lovely couple and they were sailing across the world on a yacht that he'd built himself out of sheet metal, I think.
Yeah.
And their daughter, we're still in touch with her. Man, coolest kid ever, you know, and so...
Lived in this little cupboard inside the boat, but they travelled across the Pacific and the Atlantic, and the stories they could tell was amazing.
Yeah. So it definitely works for some people, but for us, no regrets.
Yeah, not at all. Okay. Next question.
And so the third and final question from L.S. Martin. You've asked some really good ones here. What about family negotiations when we want to do different things?
Brilliant one. Yeah, definitely. Because we do like doing different things, don't we?
Yeah.
And I think we've got a really good system, really, because what happens is Mandy does what she wants to do and I go off and do what I want to do, and then we come back together again and it's all good, right? Yeah. Pretty much that's it. I like to go off trekking and stuff, like doing some adventurous things, and Mandy will be happy just in the hostel reading a book for a few days while I go off and do my thing. And then when I come back, it's all kind of like, it's nice to see each other again.
Yeah, and to catch up on what the other person's been doing, and which is wonderful. Yeah. Or sometimes, of course we bicker. You know what I mean?
And there's compromise when we travel, I think, because, you like different things to me sometimes, you love being in cities and going around the restaurants and that kind of stuff, and I'll go along with your thing, and then I'll kind of convince you to come and do something a bit out of your comfort zone or something like that. But no, you still...
Outside of my comfort zone. Because I was going to say we bicker, and so this might be an example. I think people might think that we're always really happy and get on really well.
we're real people, you know. So
and so what sometimes happens is that one of us might really want to do something and the other one may not, and who knows, we might argue for a few days, fall out a bit, but and then it always gets resolved.
It's all good. It's how you resolve your problems, isn't it? That's the main thing.
Yeah, talking things through, and I don't think we've ever had any like major disagreements about something I didn't want to do. Because there's always, as Steve said before, there's always like a way to compromise.
Yeah.
And so that's really good. Yeah. So the next question is from Michael Inkster. And Michael asked, do you have a base/house that you call home? We sort of touched on this in the first Q&A.
Yeah, 3 places, Australia, New Zealand and the UK, because we've got family in those 3 countries, so we're always going to be going back and visiting them, aren't we?
Yeah, which is wonderful. Yeah. I mean, like, there is some family land in New Zealand that we have this little, we call it a hut. It's more like a shed.
Yeah, this wooden cabin that me and my dad built. In 2000, so it's still standing, and there's no running water, no electricity. It's just kind of like luxury camping as far as I'm concerned. We love it there, and we go back there and chill for a while, don't we? When we need time out.
So when we do go back to NZ, like, we definitely want to show it to you, you know, because it's such an amazing lifestyle, just getting away from everything. We used to totally get away from everything, but now there are some amenities, but yeah. The next questions, we've got 2 from Sue Bowman. Like, Sue's such a wonderful viewer, like, she's written so many brilliant comments. Thank you so much. And Sue's first one was, have you experienced any issues or danger during your travel? It was a similar question on the last one, but I've thought of a couple of things since then. I've been pickpocketed twice, both really minor, thankfully. One was in Sumatra way back in 96 actually, and there was just like a small purse with some money in it, but the only bummer was I was leaving Sumatra, like Indonesia, the very next day, and so I had to like exchange, like, I think it was like a $10 note was my smallest note, so I ended up with like loads of Indonesian rupiah, which was a bit of a bummer. But and then also when we were in Cuba that time in 2000,
old Havana, Mandy got kind of mugged, we were walking down a dark street late at night. We'd had a few mojitos, like, did all the things that you're not supposed to do, you know. It always happens in these situations, and there was a group of guys coming up, like, kind of walking up behind, like, on the other side of the street, weren't they? And all of a sudden we weren't paying attention, and one ran up, grabbed Mandy's little purse that she had around her neck,
tiny little thing, it was
and
little,
did a runner down the street.
And I just felt like really bad for him in a way, because it was my toilet paper and the toilet money. I think it had like 25 US cents in it. You know, so you weren't carrying much. No, and if he'd been caught, I think it was like an automatic 1-year jail sentence for robbing a tourist at the time. So
it's just one of those things. Nothing really else. I got pickpocketed in Paris that time, didn't I? I had my camera stolen, and that was at 4 a.m. in a nightclub, and I'd had a few drinks as well. So there you go. There's a moral from the story coming, I think, somewhere.
Like, I don't know, don't drink, or like don't take anything important with you, or.
But we have no major real issues. I think if you travel for years and years and years on end, something's going to happen eventually. You just got to be a bit alert and a bit sensible, really.
Definitely. So the next question from Sue Bowman. Sue actually asked this ages ago, so it was answered in the very first Q&A, and it was, what continent do you plan to visit after Portugal? And that is the Middle East a continent?
It's a region, isn't it? It's not a continent as per se, I suppose. Let's say the Arabian Peninsula, the Gulf states and the Arabian Peninsula, that's going to be our main focus next time, and we're really looking forward to that. A few different places. We've had little stopovers before in Qatar and Oman, and we really enjoyed those, so we kind of know what we're going to go in for, but these are new places. And that leads very well into the next question, which is from Julie Eggleton, and Julie is another brilliant contributor. Thank you so much, Julie. She often shares tips about her frugal travel as well, because she goes up to 100 countries, so thank you, Julie. And Julie's question was, what will happen after the Abu Dhabi house set, and which countries do we want to explore? So remember, check out our first Q&A. What we're doing in Abu Dhabi. But after the Abu Dhabi house UAE, we're actually going to be flying from Abu Dhabi to Kuwait. Got a dirt cheap flight on Wizz Air, yeah, fantastic. Hoping to go overland into Saudi Arabia. That's going to be interesting because there isn't any public transport. We're not quite sure if you can get the visa on arrival at the border, so that's going to be quite a challenge.
Actually, we are going to be making a travel planning video shortly, so we won't say too much more about this. But
and then Saudi Arabia, Bahrain.
Yeah. So the second question from Julie is, what are our crucial travel items? And I mean, like, quite obviously, mine's my phone, Samsung S8. It's my library books. It's my maps,
ultimate tool, isn't it? Yeah, let's be honest.
Accommodation.
Yeah.
But as we said in the first Q&A, we are going to be doing a travel packing video and showing exactly what we're taking on this next leg of the journey. And there'll be a couple of things in there that I do find really useful that might be a bit surprising to some people.
For me, crucial items, I've got my backpacking down now to, I've got clothes and I've got tech, we all like tech's important for everything. And some toiletries, and that's about it. I've got it pretty simple, but there are a couple of other things. My water bottle, that's crucial to me. I love this. I found it in a youth hostel in Romania.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Someone had left it in Sibiu.
Yeah, and I've got a hot water bottle, this little tiny hot water bottle thing, which I got in Armenia. I have this back problem and I have problems with my muscles sometimes. I need a hot water bottle to heat things up. So I've got this.
Because let's face it, we're not 20 anymore. You know what I mean?
The crucial things become a little bit different the older you get. Things to help make life a bit more comfortable. Yeah, so I really like that little hot water bottle. That's going with me.
But the brilliant thing is, I looked around at a few different pharmacies to find one, and when I finally did, it turns out it was actually an enema pack.
Come with all these tubes that you gave back to the pharmacist because you didn't need those. Yeah. There you go. Our little secret.
Yeah. So we hope that answered your questions, Julie. And the next one, this is from, ties in quite well, from Feb.29, and it's, what medical insurance company do you use? Now, we don't use a medical insurance company as such, but we are going to be needing travel insurance. And it's something we've got to look into and research well, because it turns out when you hit 50, as soon as you hit 50, the blinking premiums seem to
double
or even quadruple, because everyone talks about world nomads and SafetyWing. SafetyWings goes from something like $40 a month to $120 a month.
These are companies that are based, that are for long-term travellers who don't have a country of residence because they live on the road. That's our situation. It's different for all different kinds of people. But SafetyWings and World Nomads are the companies that most of those people use, and you can pay by the month, and it can just either cover your medical or all your other stuff as well. So.
Yes.
Might be one of those on the next trip.
Yeah, something we are definitely going to have to look into, I think. But yeah, a lot of this is related to age, isn't it? Anyway.
Yeah.
Because, seriously, I can't pass for 20 anymore. So the next one, rolling with the Pauls. I love rolling with the Pauls. Paulie, hello. And the question is, what's the secret to recovering our feet after walking long distances? And this is my secret. It came in so useful when we were in Paris.
It looks like a COVID-19 symbol thing, doesn't it? I just realised that.
But
punk rocker ball.
Yeah, we had this in Paris in 2016 when we were travelling around Europe with Mara and Gaz.
Walking 20 kilometres a day around town, going hard, so your feet are throbbing at the end of the day.
And so this this little spikes, it was so good. You roll it on the soles of your feet, and it really helped. And also
a massage.
Yeah, good shoes. Because one thing we haven't scrimped on is footwear, and we've both got Solomon.
These Solomon XTC, the hiking trainers, sneakers, whatever you want to call them, but they're actually amazing, and we've just walked them into the ground for the last 2 years, haven't we?
When did we buy them? Was it 2019?
I think they're over 2 years old now, which is if they last a year, I think.
Or is it 3 years old.
Wow. Solomon, you are the best.
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor us, we'd love to, but we're going to buy your products anyway. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Think about it.
Now we've got 3 questions from Frugal Mr. B. He's become such a good YouTube friend, I think.
Definitely.
Which is really, really cool. And love the name, obviously. Frugal Buddies Unite.
Totally.
And the first one was, have we ever travelled in Japan or South Korea? Well, I lived in Japan in 1994, 1995. I lived there for 9 months in total, and it was amazing. And then we went to Japan together in Was it 2006?
Yeah, that was just a brief 2-week Japanese style tour, wasn't it? Like going hard, fast, and visiting a lot of places.
It was so cool.
We booked the train ticket in advance, didn't we?
Yeah, we bought the Japan Rail Pass. Bought it in Australia.
Yeah.
And
and whizzed around. Fantastic. I love the country. It's so interesting. Really fascinating culture. Love Japan.
Yes.
And then we stopped in South Korea on our grand tour of the Eurasian continent when we went across Russia on the Trans-Siberia and then to South Korea and then Hong Kong and then back through China and incredible. And we were in South Korea for about 2.5 weeks, I think.
Yes.
I mean, that was just Seoul, incredible.
Amazing.
City, Busan, really interesting, and some of the smaller towns as well.
Yes.
I can't remember the names of all of them now, but
they're a amazing historical village.
We stayed in beautiful little traditional houses and ate the food. Amazing, yeah.
And the crazy thing was, I now am totally addicted to Korean dramas. I wasn't at the time, but I look at them now and it's I just want to go back there. So maybe one day.
One day.
Yeah, for sure. I've got to see more of it. Okay, so the second question from Frugal Mr. B. What country haven't we visited yet that we really want to go to?
Quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
For me, my bucket list item that I've been dying to do for years is to go trekking in the Karakoram on the Karakoram ranges of Pakistan. So I want to go up there sometime and trek all the way up to the Baltoro Glacier and K2. That is my life dream. It's going to happen.
So Pakistan for you.
And Mongolia as well. For some reason, I see myself on a horse galloping across the steppes and staying in yurts. That's another one. Mandy?
Yeah, for me, it's quite hard because I think we've visited a lot of the ones that I really wanted to go to. Portugal was one, Morocco was one.
You got to come up with that.
Which country? For some bizarre reason, Tunisia.
Okay.
It's really in my head at the moment. Yeah. I'm not too sure why. Yeah. Sorry, right. So it's caught me out. So even though we've had Tunisia, dying to go. Actually, there was something I keep talking about. Taiwan. Oh my days! I so want to go to Taiwan. So, let's just see what happens. That one
later. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. And the third and final question from Frugal Mr. B is: do we think we'll ever retire from travelling and settle in one location?
We may have to eventually when we can't move anymore.
Health reasons.
Until while we've got our health, we're just going to keep going and keep going. I think. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And because people do, they go from southern hemisphere to northern hemisphere, summer to summer and all that sort of stuff. And I think that
we might slow down a bit, in as the years go on, and
start going on cruises more.
And I quite like what we're doing at the moment, house sitting for a few months and then doing some serious travel and then stopping, having a break. I think that's a nice balance.
Yes.
I'm quite happy with that, and maybe migrate with the seasons as well, northern and southern hemispheres.
Yes, because someone recently, I'm so sorry, was it Angelique? Angelique she didn't, it wasn't a question as such, but I'm going to treat it as a question. She said, where do we get the energy and don't we ever get tired? And you did actually respond to her comment and said we do spend a lot of time going out sightseeing, etc. But for every day we do that, we'll spend a day relaxing and
feet up and chilling out.
Watching something on.
We're not
the magic boxes.
100% hardcore every day. No way can we do that. Yeah.
But I think I want to do that a bit more now. As Lee said, house sit for 2 months and then travel intensively for say 2 months. Yeah, that'd be a good way of doing it. And then the next and final question from our YouTube friends, Bucket List Travellers. Hello, Jay and John.
Hey.
And the question was, how do we learn a new language and do we have any tips? Lee's the language person.
I love languages, and it's my mission in life to become a polyglot and say that I can speak fluently in many languages, and I'm working on quite a few. But I love Duolingo as an app. That's helped me a lot, and I think the main thing is whatever you want to learn, focus and do at least 30 minutes to an hour a day of study. And I don't know if you've heard of comprehensible input, but put that into Google and you'll see it's all about learning the basics of the language and then just trying to get as much input of that language into you as possible and learn that way. I watch television, I listen to podcasts, I read on social media in different languages, all stuff like that. It all helps.
So our final question is from Claire Lessels, and it's, when do we plan to be back in Portugal?
Next year.
Yay!
This time next year, pretty much.
Yeah, because like, there's no way we can leave this incredible country for good.
Yeah.
No.
So we want to travel, go visit family, do some more traveling, and we've got a couple of house sits that we just love the animals so much that we just can't walk away from them, and we've been asked to come back and house sit for them, so we're going to do that as well. So Portugal, we'll be back.
And I'll be just counting the days. I know I will.
I'll be back. Sorry, I had to say that.
But so thank you so much to all the people that asked these questions, the ones that we've answered today.
There's still a few more to go, but we don't want to fill this up, so we'll just put them on the list and we'll do another one another time. Ask us some more questions if you like. We're happy to answer them.
Yes, and we're going to do a completely separate Q&A on Portugal because, you know...
We've got some Portugal-based questions and we know
to one side.
We'll want to hear that. So
thanks
very much for watching. Like, subscribe and comment if you can. We'd like that.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
And until next time...
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now. GoPro, stop recording. Honestly, it doesn't like my voice. GoPro, stop recording. Can you do it?
GoPro, stop recording.